Every year, there are Ohio State fans that say the Buckeyes need to play in more primetime games. Well, your cry has been heard. It was recently announced that the Buckeyes will play a night game in November in 2023.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Wednesday, May 17th in the year 2023, and this episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege, and when you enter promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. During today's episode, I will discuss different things in different ways. The new TV deal the Big Ten announced earlier this year impacts the Ohio State football team. I'll also predict how many night games the Buckeyes will have in the fall. But before we get to any of that, I'm a person, and you may be like me, that believes Ohio State needs to play more night games. Now, there was a year when it seems like they were playing cupcakes. Night game here, night game there, blowout here, blowout there. Those things might happen. But in the general year, in the day in which we live, and the way the TV deals are set up, even previously, Buckeyes had too many 12 o'clock games, not enough games in the evening where they could get more eyeballs on the Ohio State football team. Well, the new TV deal changes that, where there's a game at 12, a Big Ten slot at 3:30, a Big Ten slot at 7:30 on Fox, on CBS, on NBC, respectively. And with the new TV deal, makes you think and wonder, well, does that mean that NBC will broadcast Big Ten games in November? They're going to. In the game that was announced earlier this week as being a primetime game in November, Ohio State hosting the Michigan State Spartans. I think it's great for business. I think it's great for NBC in the first year in November, when normally the Big Ten plays at 12 or 3:30 or maybe 4. All of a sudden, you're saying, look, we're going to be in this thing. We're going to be in prime time. How about we showcase the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes, as Gus Johnson calls them, in prime time in November? It's great for them. Ideal. I mean, there's not many teams in the country that get more eyeballs consistently on and off the football field like the Ohio State Buckeyes. You go to the rankings and the ratings, Ohio State, Michigan, one of the highest rated games every single year, regardless of record of each program. You go to Ohio State and Penn State, one of the highest rated. Ohio State, Notre Dame, it's up there. Every single year, there are 3 or 4 Ohio State games that are in the top 10 viewed games every single college football year, college football season. And then you add in, okay, who does Ohio State have? Ryan Day. People want to watch Ohio State's football team, especially the offense, play football. What else do you have? Tuimoloau's probably going to blow up. What's that going to do? Bring eyeballs. What else do you have? Marvin Harrison Jr. What else do you have? Honestly, Travion Henderson, I think, still brings some eyeballs to the TV. Big Ten people. So that's going to help people there as well. Emeka Egbuka, possibly a future first-round pick. Want to watch that. In November, you're going to realize and figure out what Ohio State is. You're going to know who the team is. You're going to know if they're going to have a shot at winning the Big Ten championship, being undefeated in the season, going to the playoff, shot to win the Natty. All those things will be on the line. You got Ohio State and Sparty playing in November. Now, also earlier this week, it was announced, and this was kind of expected, that Ohio State and Michigan would play on Fox, big noon, 12 o'clock, November 25th. That's expected. The game's going to be a noon game, noon kickoff. Might get a 3:30. Honestly, if Fox didn't get the first bid, I think NBC would be right there saying, okay, cool. Like, y'all don't want that, and we got first pick on that week, or we got first pick here in this draft here of the games. How about we take that game? Because I would love, and I'm going to try my best to do this down the road. Noah Eagle was announced as being the play-by-play voice of NBC football, Big Ten football on NBC. And I would love to get him on here and say, hey, man, look, what would it mean for you to potentially call, which I know it might not happen, but to potentially call an Ohio State-Michigan football game? I would love to get that, to have the conversation with Noah right here with you during the summer on Locked On Buckeyes. I'm here for these kind of things, man. I understand CBS is going to have their time slot. You're going to have the Buckeyes playing at 3:30 every now and then. You're going to get a few more games. Penn State might be a 12 noon game. The game's October 21st. The Buckeyes host party this year. Might get some other games that you might say, ooh, Fox, I know you're number one. We don't want you there. We want you on CBS. We want you on NBC because it's more conducive for our family's schedule. I think for the Big Ten, monetarily, this is a great financial move to have these three networks broadcasting games. And also it helps people understand and know what Big Ten, when the Big Ten is going to be playing football. Now, you're still going to have to go and search your phone or your iPad or your tablet or your computer and say, okay, cool, like Ohio State, that's where you want to watch. Are they on ABC? Excuse me, not ABC. That's long gone. Are they on Fox, CBS, or NBC? And if you look at those three channels, one, that's regular television. You don't have to have cable to have those. So grandmas and grandpas of the players who maybe don't have ESPN, they can watch the games even better. Now, granted, there will be Big Ten games on the Peacock, and I do expect at some point the Buckeyes will play on the Peacock. That is their streaming service. The grandmas and grandpas will have to get that and have to be taught, well, how do I pull the game up? And how do I know when the game starts? And is it going to start on time? Is it going to be some glitching? We know how the internet works. We don't like that stuff. We don't understand that very well. Hey, grandson, you have to help me learn how to use this thing so we can watch Junior play the football. That's still going to happen. But also, if you're someone like me that might be out and about, might be traveling every now and then, you want to be able to watch the game. Fox is streamed. They played, I think it's probably going to be free. Big Ten games are streamed on Fox as well. There will still be night games on Big Ten Network as well. Big Ten Network is not going away, but I'm here for it. I'm here for night games in November. I am here for the Buckeyes to have a broader and a different range of viewer in the future than they have previously. ESPN does a phenomenal job of covering the college football. I know some people here might say, Jay, you're crazy. It's true. Some people say that I'm crazy. But my crazy self will still say, Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis, David Pollock, I'm going to miss them being guys that are talking more Buckeye football. Because I realize ESPN is going to do less Ohio State, more SEC, more Big 12, because it's better for the business of the company they work for, because that is who they are, that's who they have signed TV deals with. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Night games in November, buddy, I'm here for it. I am here for it. It allows us to do our fall things in November, maybe some family outings or family things. Sit back, relax, 7:30, and watch the boys play football on NBC. How does this help the Ohio State football team, though? We understand that it's better for business, Big Ten-wise, money-wise, get all of that. But specifically, how do night games in November benefit the Ohio State football team or even the new TV deal? We'll discuss that next here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Birddogs. It's that time of year. The weather's getting warmer. It'll be warmer more consistently. And when this time of year comes around, numerous people try to add different things to their wardrobe to kind of freshen things up. You want something comfortable, maybe a little stretchy, and that's what Birddog provides for you. Their fabric is stretchy. It makes my legs look great, and they're comfier than my other shorts and pants. They give me the freedom to wear one pair of shorts or pants on the golf course to a meeting, a date, or hanging out with friends. Oh, and Dave Portnoy does pizza reviews wearing Birddogs and talks about how he hates the pizza, but his legs look great in Birddogs. So go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege, and when you enter promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Once again, go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege, and when you enter promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes on Apple, Spotify, the Odyssey app, and YouTube so you don't miss a beat. Locked On Buckeyes is coming at you 5 days a week with a fresh new episode. Locked On Buckeyes is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So I could go on and on and on about how this new TV deal benefits the Ohio State Buckeyes, about how monetarily the Buckeyes will make more money due to the TV deal, about the eyeballs, the viewership, how it benefits the viewership of the Buckeyes and the conference as a whole. We could do that as well. But if you were a person that checked out yesterday's show, and the everydayers definitely checked out our most recent recruiting update, you kind of got a little idea that Ohio State's going after the best players in the country. If you're new to Ohio State or new to college football and you're just checking out the show for the first time, Ohio State recruits at an all-time elite level year in and year out. There are some schools that focus locally or in just their region geographically and don't really branch out nationally to recruit guys. Ohio State puts an emphasis locally in Ohio, regionally in the Midwest, but also Ohio State puts an emphasis nationally on some of the best guys in the country. And that goes from Eastern time zone to Pacific time zone. You might even get somebody in Hawaii or Alaska who is that good, that dude, and Ohio State wants them to come to Columbus to play the football. They're going all over the place to find the best football players at the level. And also, when you think about that, what do we find during the season? Sometimes players might take unofficial visits. And an unofficial visit, that's on the family's dime. You fly up, you drive over, you come to Columbus, we host you, but it's still an unofficial visit, not on the school's dime. And one thing we realized, we learned during our recruiting updates, is that sometimes the time of the game is very, very important and pivotal to somebody making a trip to Columbus to make an unofficial visit to the Ohio State University. Think about it. Last year, the Notre Dame game. Now, that was Labor Day weekend. So the time of the game was not really a big deal. It could have been 12, could have been 3:30, could have been 4, could have been 7:30 or 8, could have been any time in the afternoon or the evening. That one wasn't a big deal as far as time of day. But what did we find? The later in the day the game is, it allows people and parents that work on Fridays and weren't able to get off work to be able to fly or travel to Columbus to be in a game that's later in the day. But also, most people don't work on Labor Day, that Monday, the following Monday. So it allows people more time to get home. When you think about games that are happening during a football season on Labor Day weekend, as high school football time for the players at Ohio State's recruiting. When you think about what's going on in October, in November, that's state tournament time. That's playoff time. So what do you find then? Players that are playing on Friday that may still want to take an unofficial visit because they may want to announce their commitment, maybe Thanksgiving weekend. What do you find? Night games allow Ohio State to be able to host unofficial visits in November, and it allows parents to get their youngsters, their young men, to Columbus for these unofficial visits. It's great for recruiting. Now, this was not something I initially thought when I first heard of the TV deal. A TV deal that, like I mentioned earlier, will find games on Fox at noon, CBS at 3:30, and NBC in prime time. Now, that prime time might be 7:30, might be 8. We'll discuss in the very next segment why a game that could be in prime time might not be in prime time because of a contract NBC has with Notre Dame. We'll discuss that here in a second. But this is a big thing for Ohio State. I think Ryan Day is going to allow him to really, hey man, open the doors up. It's going to allow him a big opportunity to be able to get some of these big time recruits. Because imagine a guy who was not planning on announcing his commitment until maybe an All-American Bowl down in San Antonio, or the different bowl games, high school all-star games that players play in. What if a player is saying, look, I am the starting tight end on my school. I'm one of the best tight ends in the country. I'm going to be playing in the Under Armour All-American Bowl, but I'm not going to announce my commitment until that day on national TV. Well, maybe he wants to take one more visit to Ohio State, and a night game allows him to be able to play his game on a Friday, state tournament, playoffs, whatever, if he's still playing, but also be able to travel, get there, go to the game, make an unofficial visit, and make that thing happen, and allow him to make a clearer decision and more calculated decision about the right school for him to play college football. So we're thinking about not just a TV deal for Ohio State in game time, but this benefits the Buckeyes in recruiting. And so I don't want to keep harping on it. We can go over and over and over and over this part for a really long time. But think about it. I'm going to revisit something that happened a year ago. What was it? Damon Wilson, Mateo Uiagalelei, and there was another talented five-star defensive end. Myself and John Garcia Jr. on the show discussed it numerous times and talked about. And John gave updates. He's like, hey, got this update with Mateo. Got this with this young man and that young man. And what do we find? Ohio State didn't get any of them. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to be up here and say, oh, this new rule, this new TV deal, 9 games in November, it'll allow Ohio State to get these guys. If that was a rule last year, Ohio State would have got 1 of the 3. I don't know. And I ain't going to sit up here and tell you, act like I know. I don't know. And I don't really think it might have been a deciding factor, just to be honest with you. I don't know. But what I do know, it's just another opportunity. It's another avenue. A door is open for the Buckeyes to literally walk right through to recruit the guys in a different way, more emphasis, more aggressively, so that the hopes, and as Brian Smith said yesterday, Ohio State needs one of these top defensive ends, needs them. And ultimately, this move, I do believe, helps Ohio State accomplish that goal. Coming up next is prediction time, baby. I'm going to predict what primetime games the Buckeyes will play in 2023. They span numerous networks. We'll discuss how many and what games that will be night games for the Buckeyes in the fall next here on Locked On Buckeyes. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Make sure you come back for tomorrow's show. I believe later on today, on Wednesday, CBS Sports will be unveiling their coach rankings. And we're going to find out where Ryan Day sits in the grand scheme of things. Is he number 1? Is he number 5? Is he number 10? Does he move up or down based off where he was ranked a year ago? We try to do this every offseason. I do believe it's coming up right now. You do not want to miss the CBS Sports Coach Rankings and find out where Ryan Day falls in being ranked amongst the other Power 5 coaches in college football. I tell you once, I'll tell you again, your boy likes predicting things. I'm a list kind of guy, not as much as I used to be, but I still love making lists. I mentioned this, I believe, on a show last week. The Everydayers definitely heard your boy talk about his enjoyment of making lists. And this is one right here. Went to the schedule, 12 regular season games. It's prediction time. And this comes on the heels, and this was not a game I would have predicted. Ohio State playing a home game, hosting Sparty, and it being in primetime, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Didn't predict it, but it makes sense. And it made me think, what other games will Ohio State play in primetime this year? What other games will Ohio State play where you got to be like, oh, that's NBC. That's Noah Eagle on the call. I know what I'm going to get with that game, with that broadcast. I'm here for it. I got some in the first month of the season, the first 4 games, some coming later on. One that I thought was going to be a night game, but I don't think it will be due to, well, another contract NBC has with Notre Dame, of all things. Here we go. I got a few for you here, predicting night games that Ohio State will play in 2023. Keep in mind, Fox gets the best game of the week, which is going to involve Ohio State numerous times, which is why there'll be a couple games where, yes, it has it's primetime caliber, but it's not primetime in the contract. First game, I do think will be a primetime game for Ohio State. It might seem a little weird. Western Kentucky. I think Big Ten Network's going to be all over this one. Western Kentucky, really good offense, more of a one of the more high power offenses at the G5 level. I think Big Ten Network is saying, look, at Indiana, I don't think Ohio State's going to be in prime time. Youngstown State, not in prime time. Western Kentucky, if you want to draw eyeballs from the G5 level and just P5 level and just college football fans as a whole that understand what Ohio State brings to the table and they like what Western Kentucky brings to the table on offense, that's a primetime game. Not what I was expecting when I first started this exercise, but here we go. Another primetime game. And I think this one is set in stone, even if NBC did not have a Big Ten contract. Ohio State at Notre Dame, September 23rd. Keep in mind, Notre Dame has that NBC deal with an NBC contract. And in that, there are generally one or two games that is prime time that Notre Dame plays and that is on NBC. I do believe NBC broadcast all Notre Dame home games. So with this being a Notre Dame home game with one of the top 5, top 3 teams in the country, you got to think NBC. Now, this one will not be Noah Eagle on the call. I do believe this one will be Mike Tirico on the call and the people that broadcast the NBC, Notre Dame on NBC. That team will be doing this game, not the Big Ten team, but still it's a primetime game, back-to-back weeks in the first 4 weeks of the season. See it, baby. The next one was a prediction that I got wrong a few months ago because this whole time I thought Ohio State at Purdue, night game. The previous time that Ohio State played in West Lafayette, a night game, 2018, Purdue won the game. This one could still be a night game, but it won't be on NBC. And I think since NBC has that slot, I don't see it. I don't see Ohio State at Purdue being a night game because this is the same day USC goes on the road to Notre Dame. I do think NBC broadcasts that game in the evening. Could be a game where they move up to 2:30 and put NBC in a Big Ten game in that evening slot, but I don't think that's going to happen. Michigan State's a night game, and I would not be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked at all if we saw Ohio State at Wisconsin as a night game. Now, keep in mind, Fox might be all over this because not just the quarterbacks, there's some intrigue. Luke Fickell, former Ohio State player, former Ohio State coach, now coaching at Wisconsin. Two of the potential best backs in the conference, Braylon Allen, could be in the country, Trevion Henderson, Mayan Williams, going up against each other on the field. One offense is on the field. One great back, really good back will be out there. The other one, Braylon Allen. So I think that one has night game on it. So you could realistically see Penn State, 12 noon, October 21st. October 28th, Ohio State at Wisconsin. That's a night game on NBC. Ohio State at Rutgers, give me that 3:30 or whatever. CBS, Big Ten, don't really matter. It's going to be a blowout. Then you got night game, Sparty, NBC. The Minnesota game's tricky because that could be a night game. Depending on how Minnesota goes, that could probably be flexed. But realistically, we could get a night game on Big Ten Network, a night game on NBC, a night game on NBC against Sparty, a night game on NBC against Michigan State. It would be wise for CBS to find a way to put Ohio State in prime time in their first time covering Big Ten football in a long time, week in, week out, week in, week out. I just don't think it's going to happen multiple times. Maybe once, not multiple times. Guys, out of here on a Wednesday. Hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed the show. The weather outside, look outside right now. It's a little cloudy, a little rainy as I record this show. I know it's going to warm up consistently. I'm tired of this rain on the weekend. Tired of this rain just randomly hitting us. Let's hope together we get good weather, consistent weather all week long, especially during Memorial Day weekend. It's the unofficial start to summer. Pools will open up, and let's get outside now. Enjoy the weather, but definitely when them pools open up, hop in the pool, take a dip, take a swim. refresh yourself, cool off. It's what we do this time of year. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. This is Locked on Buckeyes on a Wednesday. I am Jay Stevens. I'll see you next time.